What else is important?
You betuna. Leon is here. Nolutando is here. Why are we still waiting? Good afternoon, everyone. And in the villages I once traveled in Eastern Cape, they say our party bendao are here. So if you've got Nolutando, you've got Leanne, then the class is officially on. And I hope you traveled well. You're okay. Just to make sure that you don't have a holiday hangover, we rewinded the date to the 28th for your convenience. Makes things easier for you. Then you should be good and well. And you'll check on your emails. We've now emailed you the new dates. And for April, you can now, next session, go right into April and skip today and go into the other days on the calendar and log on those. There's a likelihood that we may move a session for next week. Tuesday, we've got trial, and it will seem if we travel back here after we are done, wherever we are, it's not going to work. We'll arrive late, Standiwe says. So we are trying to arrange with Mel if we cannot move everything to Monday, first the morning class and the afternoon class to be on Monday. If such an arrangement flies, we'll let you know by end of business tomorrow. If we have to stick to that, we will have to see if we cannot use Wi-Fi where we are. But traditionally, the Wi-Fi there is very bad. But we'll see what we can do. We'll let you know as things go. Anybody who wants to unmute and say something before we go on, or if we are good, we can proceed.
Good afternoon, Mr. Paula. If I may, Merlin here. With regards to Monday, I think you just confirmed. So will it be both full and part-time that we're going to move?
Yes.
Alrighty. Because I just formulated the links before I left the office this morning. I'll then change it then from the 9th to the 8th, which means then we will only have class then the Monday, not the Tuesday. So I'll share the links with everybody after today's session. It was scheduled to go out, but after you sent me the last email, I stopped the email to go out.
Okay, we'll also try, and if that will be good, and where possible during the week, probably on a Tuesday or let's say on Wednesday, the recording will then be available if possible, if we can arrange with Grace Mel.
Yes, we'll just have to ask Grace. She only uploads, especially in the evenings. Her office hours run till 4. So then we rely on her to upload it during the day.
Okay.
So just to be safe, let's say it normally takes a day and a bit to have it uploaded. After I've circulated.
Wednesday, we can have something for everybody to catch up in the event they surely cannot make it on Monday.
Perfect. That's perfect with me. So I'm going to change the links, Mr. Paula. Then I heard you just announced that the email for the schedules is supposed to go out for the links. Then I will then only do it after tonight's class, because if I change anything now, we would not be able to have class now as we speak.
Perfect. Let's do that.
All right.
Thank you very much. And everybody else, thank you for coming. I'm going to minimize my screen. If there's anything under comments which I do not see, Madeline will just also jump in and let me know if there is something for me to do. I can see we need to do a WhatsApp link. Let's see if I cannot get hold of that before we even go any further and get you the WhatsApp link. And you'll assist us to put it in our company group, and then I'll move it from there into the Teams sessions, the one for the afternoon students, or the one that says part-time. If you are somehow part of the morning group and you didn't attend and you're catching up here, that link was sent on the morning group link. The one I'm copying now and posting on the chat should be the one for this group. So you can use that link to join the WhatsApp group, and then we can be able to send some material and quick notes. If there's any quick notes like today's notes, there are some quick notes for you to use, and we'll be able to send them there. Well, now that we've done our administration for the evening, let's move along with the session and see what we are discussing. We're going according to the schedule. So the schedule gives us today that we need to do module 4. And in module 4, you'll realize that one thing we need to do is to learn how to operate the computer for the convenience of our office work. But the first thing you will learn, even though your book says jump in and do a word processor program, you cannot use a word processor program unless you understand the basic concepts around an operating system. And since this is not an IT class, I won't take you into serious details of how an operating system works. But I'm going to take you through one of the general slides that explained the difference between Microsoft Word, Windows 10 and Microsoft Windows 7. These are operating systems. One is slightly the older one and the other one is the newer one. You are likely to come across Windows 8, which Windows 8 and Windows 7 look alike. And in most companies, they keep Windows 7 because Windows 7 is very stable. So if you are using Windows 7 on older computers, especially on mainframes and things, you'll be able to navigate around it as we are going to discuss now. But if you are now using the newer computers, they'll probably be having Windows 11 on them. Windows 11 and Windows 10, they're the same family. They use the same user interface, and we're going to go through that user interface and scroll through it. So I will need your IT head to come along and you learn how to do it. So in the morning class, we said, just as an icebreaker discussion, let us discuss the 5 important traits of a paralegal. And in the morning class, they actually discuss that a paralegal officer should be able to be proactive. So if you are proactive, you are able to do things before you are told. And the simplest thing to remember it is you must have a sixth sense. You always hear me if I'm sitting around with my PA would always say she's more like the second brain. So you should be able to be invaluable in your company. People should be able to see and understand you from the second brain perspective and say, well, we are able to rely on her or him to think of things which we would have normally thought of. Now, The other skill that in this class we should actually be discussing is an IT skill. If you are a paralegal, you're expected to know computer skills, which ordinarily anybody else in the office will not care to know. So if a printer doesn't print, you should be able to assist us to make it print. If a printer is not a default printer, you should know how to make it a default printer. So these are the things that attorneys and advocates will not ordinarily bother thinking about or even doing, but we would expect you to assist us with those in the office. Today's lesson will take you through an overview of Windows, but after this lesson, the expectation is you go on YouTube and find yourself a video that says how to use Windows 10. And if it's more than 10 minutes or more than 15 minutes, too long. It should be something small. But that video should bring you into the excitement that says this is how to use a computer and use it properly. Sometimes you stumble upon using a computer. You walk into an office, here's a computer, you press and it works. But do you really know how to use a computer? It reminds me of what I would usually say. I would usually say the lack of knowledge is dangerous. If you don't know something, it's very dangerous. But little knowledge is even more dangerous than the lack of knowledge, because if you've got little knowledge, you even block the barriers of learning. You think you know. And because you think you know, you don't do it right. Perfect example. You want to learn how to drive a car, get yourself a learner's license, read that book and understand and know what happens there. Go to a driving school. Your mother, your father, your boyfriend, they're the worst driving tutors who will ever assist you. They'll shout and scream at you. At least that's what I've done. But what you need to do is go to a driving school. They'll show you how to do it. Even you pay for 2, 3 lessons, just go there and see what a professional does. If you are self-taught, chances are you would drive a car with one hand out the window and one hand on the steering wheel up until you go to South Africa and you hit a pothole. And that whole story ends in tears. Didn't you know how to drive? Well, you knew how to drive, just a little knowledge of it, but it ended up in trouble. So the same with computers. If you use a computer, it looks like you know what you're doing. But if you go on YouTube and you learn how other people navigate through it, you will navigate it better. Today we'll do Windows. Next time, I'll take you through a Apple computer and you see how Apple OS operates and how it works. So I'm going to minimize this on my side and go to the screen. You should be able to see now a screen that says Introduction to Windows 10. So I'm going to scroll down somewhere. It's there pontifies and say what is Windows 10 and all of that. So what I'm interested in, when you're going to use Windows 10, what's new? I mean, Windows 7 was always an operating system that works, but what has changed from the old ways of using computers to now is where you find the start menu. It's found exactly at the same location, but if you use Windows 7 and Windows 8, if you click on the start menu, you see a menu bar that pops up, which is like a start menu, pops from the bottom upwards, unless if you drag the whole thing up. If you click, it will go down. Using tiles in Windows 10, instead of finding icons, you're going to find tiles. And we're going to look at it now, and you see those tiles compared to a blank screen on Windows 7. Search feature in Windows. How to find a search feature in Windows. If you're using Windows 7, it's not on the taskbar. You won't find it there. But if you're using Windows 10, it is on the taskbar. You'll be able to find it there. Task view is available on Windows 10. I'll show you how it works. Visual desktops, we'll discuss those, and snap enhancements and quick access tools. It also gives you a chance to personalize your computer, how it looks, installing themes and desktop colors. We'll discuss those as we go. We'll explain how these affect visibility and how they affect the way you work on your computer. If you were to practically look at the two operating systems, on the left, you're looking at a Windows 10 operating system. That's generally how it looks. But if you look on the right, you're looking at the Windows 7 operating system. A Windows 7 operating system looks more like your Windows 8. It will also carry almost the same traditions as your old Windows 95. It will come something like that. Even Windows 2000, it will have something like this. The main feature of the old versions of Windows was the desktop. So when you look at the green part with an S on it, it's the desktop. But see on the top right of the desktop, you also see a window which is minimized. On the left-hand side, if you look at a Windows 10 computer, the main feature of a Windows 10 screen is the 4 blocks of the Windows logo. So when you're looking at this Windows logo, you are now able to see it mainly used as the background of the desktop. But another important thing about it is those big 4 blocks you are looking at on the background of the Windows desktop. If you look carefully on the bottom left corner of that Windows 10 screen, it's almost a replica of the same things, but they are like a small dot where you find the start menu in the old Windows. So if you clicked on it, something that resembled a start menu will pop up, but it does not pop up with programs, pictures, my computer, and all of those as you would have found out in the old Windows computers. In this Windows 10 and Windows 11 and the new versions, it will pop up with the links that gives you things that you would have ordinarily accessed in the tiles. So what is a tile? The tiles are on the right-hand side. On a Windows 10 screen, you're looking at the blue Windows 10 screen. On the right-hand side, you see things like the mailbox, the internet thing, Explorer. It's written Windows Edge if you look carefully, and all the other buttons. But you can see that each and every one of those buttons, the one that says 73 degrees, the other one shows a little bit of a picture there of a car. If you look at all those small boxes, they each are in a blue box of its own. Those blue boxes are called tiles. So the new way of navigating into a Windows computer, you would navigate through tiles. If you have a Windows cell phone, you will be able to see these very easy. They are almost the same as you would have navigated on a Windows cell phone. You click on a tile, you'll be able to open an app. If you use a cell phone, any other cell phone, you'd quickly associate these things with apps. That if you look at your cell phone, you see different apps on a screen. If you press on an app, that particular app will open. In Windows, they're simply called tiles. Perhaps they wanted to find fancy language for it, but in reality, they would operate as apps, the way you would have operated an app on your cell phone. I will go to the next screen, but I'll come back to the screen if I need to explain something on it. If you look at the bottom on the right-hand side of the screen, we have circled in blue the start button, and it's now clicked. Then once it's clicked, it pops up the menu. You can see at the top, it starts with a green thing for contacts. It goes with Edge and all those up until you see scan. These are the regular used applications. The more you use an application, it will go on a quick link when you press start. But the other thing about start, if you pressed on it, you'll also see the operation keys like get your computer to sleep, get it to shut down, get it to restart. It's on the start. If I'm moving to the front, you can see that while the start is up, it doesn't close the tiles on your right-hand side. The tiles remain on the previous screen. This screen, I just cut out a portion of it so that I can actually show you where the start is. But if you go to this side of things, you'll be able to actually see the full menu that popped up, but you also see the tiles as well. You can start an application by clicking on a tile. Each and every one of these tiles can be resized, can be moved, can actually be removed. Or if it's an application like Microsoft Word, you can uninstall. How do you do that? You do that by right-clicking on a tile. If you right-click on it, it pops out a tile menu. A tile menu will give you all the options. So if you look at the bottom right corner, not exactly on the bottom, you can see that Skype, I've right-clicked on it, and then you can see it shows the different options that I can do with Skype. How to search? If you're looking at the bottom of a window screen, so I'm going to scroll right back to the first slide where we were. So given that we are now at the bottom of the slide, Bonatseho, we are going to give you a chance to unmute yourself, to mute yourself, now that you are unmute. Aha, thank you, Bonatse. So if you go to the screen, you'll be able to see that at the bottom of, let's go to the Windows 7 screen, the one with a green background. You can see that at the bottom, there runs a gray line. This gray line runs all the way until you see the date and time on the right. Can you see that one? If you were to follow that gray line all the other way, it shows you an Internet Explorer. I think this is Google Chrome. Then it moves, it shows you a file icon like you'd open files, and then you see a start menu, which is actually pressed, and it has got up with programs. It says all programs. It is not pointed at. But the gray button you're looking at, that is the taskbar. The same button, the same bar at the bottom, the long bar where all these things are, it's more like an underlining bar at the bottom that is gray on Windows 7. Move your eyes over to the Windows 10 one. In Windows 10, you have the same thing, but it's black in color, if you can follow it. It starts on the 4 squares with the Windows logo at the very bottom. It has got a blank white space where there is search. It has got a tile button. It has got a Windows Explorer-like button, a yellow button for files. It moves all the way up until you see date and time, the same way as you would have seen on the other one. It's black in color. It could be any other color. It's just that the theme on this computer is black. The theme on the Windows 7 is grayscale. You can also make it gray at the later stage once we discuss how to do it. But the point that I want to make is both of them have a taskbar. On the taskbar, you see things that are on it. The language for it is that is docking. There are things that are docked on it. We said you can see on the Windows 7, they have Google Chrome docked on it. But on Windows 10, they've got the other internet program. What do we call that? If you remember it, please say on the chat box what it's called. The one with is it Firefox? I think it's Firefox. You've got Firefox on Windows 10, but the guy using Windows 7 is having Google Chrome as an Explorer thing, you see. So once now you see this bar at the bottom, I'm going to move you now to the other pages so that you can now see what is a point that I'm trying to make. Now you see the bar, it's also there. If you look at this, we in this screen, you remember we were discussing that you can right click on a tile and it will give you options to do things on the tile. But my focus is now for you to look at the bottom. You can see the bar. So let's move to the next page. I'm just zooming only on the search part of it. So now the search part of it is just on that same bar, but now just make it big and cut closer. So you are able to see that you can type in things under search and search for it. So you can search here for summons, you can search here for affidavits and things that you need to search. But once you find those things, they will pop up as a list of things. So if, for example, if you search affidavits, all the affidavits you type on the computer will appear. So you can search for apps. If you type the Word, Microsoft Word will appear. Or if you've even typed a document and you called it Word, that document will appear. It will search apps like Microsoft Word. It will search files. It will also search the internet. If you type the Word and you're not able to find Microsoft Word, it will also show you where you can locate Microsoft Word on the internet and give you a link where you can click, and then perhaps it will say download Microsoft Office or use Microsoft Office online, but it's able to do that. It will also search the entire system on Cortana and make sure that it finds everything for you that is available on the desktop and everything that you can access on your computer. What is the point that I'm trying to bring you at? The point that I'm trying to bring you at is you can find anything on your computer by simply clicking on search. Type what you're looking for and you can locate that thing. It's the quickest thing to locate anything. Since this is Windows and you can see I'm being nice and calm about it, it's got different and long-term ways of doing it. But if this was the other world, if we were using Apple, I would have simply said, no, you press Command Space and you'll be able to search something very fast. That's how you use a MacBook. It uses through the easiest way to use a MacBook is use a search feature. So I would also said, if you struggle with Command Space to use the generic one, which returns a lot of data, I would say, well, you need to install Alfred on your Apple computer. So why am I telling you now about MacBook while you're looking at Windows? Because I'm trying to say to you, the idea of using a MacBook is that you should find things quicker, like your brain thinks quick. While those features are there in Windows, they are not that very obvious because traditionally we are used to clicking on Start, My Documents, locate the document, search for it yourself. But there's a quicker way. You search. Search will locate those things for you quicker. And that's the point we are trying to drive on this discussion. The task view is the button they highlighted in red on the taskbar. Now you're aware of what is the taskbar and where to find it. You find the red button, the button we highlighted in red. If you click it, it takes all the tasks that are active and puts them on screen. What you then need to do is to press on any of these tasks. So to save you time, if you were going to be using this on a MacBook, what you would have done is you take your mouse, you point it at the top right corner of the mouse. So you position the mouse pointer, it will bring almost the same thing, but it will highlight it at the top. You see different windows that are open will appear at the top. Same thing in Windows. In Windows, you don't even need to struggle and go at the top and point anywhere. You can press this button, it will give you those tasks to appear. Why do you need that? What if you've opened 3, 4, 5, 6 windows, like in my case? I've got different windows opened. I've got this one, I've got module 4 book open and all of that. I've got many windows. When I shared, it said I had 19 windows open. So how do I navigate through the day and I go through these windows? Can I really scroll through each and every one? No, it's complicated. It's position at the top and scroll through them and I'll find the one I want to use and I use it. Same as you, when you are busy during the day, you want to work quick and easy, you'd use that button. The other way to access the task really is to press the Windows button. You'll find the Windows button on your Windows computer. Is it there, Standy Way? Yes, he's got one. So you press the Windows button. She's laughing at me, say, Baji. You press the Windows computer and then you press tab. Then you'll be able to see the whole tiles appearing on screen. See? She doesn't want to migrate. Will migrate the screaming and kicking into an Apple computer fast. So then you have the next thing that you can do is to get yourself a virtual desktop. We've highlighted the feature for you where you can find virtual desktops. If you click on virtual desktops, you are able to use a desktop in different locations. So how does this practically work then? If you are using a computer and you are drafting things, and maybe you want to rely, you're drafting an affidavit. You want to rely on some page which has got, or some folder which has got an ID. You also want to open proof of residence and things like that. You can either draft on this, minimize, go to the ID, read the ID number 813, and then go to Microsoft Word, type 813, minimize. No, I can't. Phela ngeke. What you need to do is to create a virtual desktop so that you can be able to see the other desktop and continue working on it. But also, visual desktop assists you to work with other people and collaborate if you're working together. So try using visual desktop on your computer and see how it works next time. And then you can come next time when you come to class and say, well, it worked. What I usually do to make things easier, I've got a screen on my table, and when we are working, we usually, if Stando is drafting something, she'll plug the screen, then I can see exactly what she's drafting. Then she will duplicate the display. I'll show you later how on settings how you'll go about that. She'll duplicate the display, and then we'll be able to see what she's doing by using virtual desktops. You can do this also. I'm pushing my luck here. Hope if you're having a Samsung laptop and you're having a Samsung TV, it does that. It helps you to link to the Samsung TV. Then you can do visual desktop. The same with this with their screen. If it's one of the recent screens that are Wi-Fi enabled, they'll assist you to do that. I think their tablet can also assist you to do it. If you're using a MacBook, you've seen this, you can connect your iPad to your MacBook and use your iPad as another screen, and then you're using visual screens. Point is, let's try to get you working quicker. Use visual desktops. Snap enhancements. Snap enhancements is you use two windows, but they snuggle close to each other. So you put one window on the left, one window on the right, and these two windows on the same screen, you're able to copy information from one window into the other window. The one you are working on becomes an active window, and the other one becomes a dormant window. When you go to the active window, you can copy things and then go to the dormant window, click on it, and paste things from the active window. We have put for you shortcuts on how to do it. To snap two windows side by side, that's what you need to do. You can drag them side by side, or you can use the shortcuts. I've put them for you. So when you're this evening, or when you're at work tomorrow, you want to try and see how to put this together, do it. But you try use two screens, if not virtual ones. You can also use the actual screen you are having to access data. While we are discussing you using two screens, let's talk about this computer weed. It's called a real estate. You hear this word a lot in property law. If somebody using a computer or some IT guy comes to your office and say, what is the real estate of your screen? They mean how big your screen is. If you're using one of them fancy computers that fit in your handbag, the real estate of your computer is something like 13-inch. A little bit bigger, you're using a computer that is 15-inch. Comfortable size, 17-inch. And if you're having a computer that is 19 to 20-inch, no way, don't carry it home. That computer should be very big. You rather have standard size 15-inch and then have a 20-inch screen on in your office, and then just duplicate the displays or share the displays virtually so that you can be able to work in two different screens. The reason I'm talking about real estate, the size of a screen, is when you put two screens together and you snap them close to each other, In the old Windows programs, Windows 95 and all those, they had a feature called tiles. What you actually do is you'll tile windows vertically or you tile them horizontally. So they will sit side by side, or another one will sit at the top and another one will sit downwards. But since Windows 10 has now introduced things called tiles, if they were to use the word tile, it will confuse. So they use snap enhancements. To snap some things, to tile things, to put them one block on the side and one block on the other side. Sometimes one block at the top and one block at the bottom, so that you'll be able to share information into Windows. Use that feature if you are typing, you want to copy contents of an act, for example, into heads of arguments. You need to tile the windows. If you do it, the space on your computer for you to work becomes smaller. That's where the word real estate comes in. And I'm going to use the word real estate later when I talk to you about zooming things on screen. There's a quick access bar. You can see the very same start button. You can do it by pressing the Windows key and X. It will give you a quick access bar. A quick access bar is the same as using tiles, but instead of going through the tiles in Windows, you can simply go to quick access bar and look at the things that are ordinarily found on your computer. For example, programs and features. So if you click on programs and features, it will open a window with all the programs that you have installed to open Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and any other program. If you click on Mobility Center, it will open an option for you to change mobility features like using your voice to type, using a slow press button. I'm thinking your cell phone, call it what, sticky press or something like that, where if you press a button, you need to hold it longer before it moves on to the next. The response of a button, because right now, if you wanted to type Peter, you need to press P and move on and press E. If you hold on P, it repeats P, 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 P on the screen. But if you change with mobility settings to allow it to be pressed longer, and then it will do it. But you have to set the rate of how long it should hold by using mobility settings. It's used mostly by persons with disability to help set up the features. But inside there are also features which you can use, like voice typing that will assist you to type things. I won't go through all of them, but for example, device manager will move you to find different devices on your computer. Do you have a printer? Do you have the printer installed? Which one is a default printer? We'll probably come back and look at this when you do settings. My favorite one at the bottom is run, but just before run, you can see search. The search there and the search at the bottom that's written, ask me anything, are the same. If you click on it, it will give you a search box where you can type and search your computer for things. Preferably use the one on the taskbar where it says ask me anything. But where it says ask me anything, can you see it's got a small microphone? Where we're talking about mobility center, that's where you can set up those settings that you can actually speak into your computer and activate the microphone to receive the instructions. It works more like Siri, and the one on Android, I don't know who they call that lady, one of those. And when you use that, it will be able to give instructions and move things along. That's your quick access bar. Personalized and settings. This is where we said Windows here. Ooh, I'm going to move you right back. Windows on the right, you can see the colors are more friendlier. And Windows 10, the colors are not that really friendly. But at times, when these colors are darker, the details get highlighted easier. On Windows 7, look at the colors on the menu bar. It's grayscalish and fancy, but you are not able to read easily what is written there, because The more brighter it gets, the more less visible it gets. The more darker the background gets, the more visible the text gets. Black background, white text, easy to read. You can also make it the other way around. You can have it white background, black text. Like you have it on Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word gives you a white background and black text. You can actually turn it around. And Marilyn complains there and say, hi, Mr. Pala, not black text. Now that you've been to the village, you came back with scars. Yeah, scars of black text. So not that one, text. Okay. Quick access tools. We moved here and we said you can change the background and how the background works. Change the background on the computer at work if you want to, but what we urge and advise is keep it professional. Do not put, now that you went to the Bahamas the previous 3 days, the picture of you at the Bahamas at the beach, nice pictures, but don't put them on the work computer. Just leave that whole story on your personal phone. Just keep the web computer clean because everybody's going to use it. The colors, use the colors that are easier to work with. With Microsoft Word, it's familiar to have white background, black text, because it looks like a page where you are writing with black ink. So it's easier to read and it's easy on the eye. So it's a well tried and tested method. But if you're looking at my screen now, you see where I've written personalization and settings. That personalization and settings, the background is blue and the text is white. It's still visible, but it's not standard. It's not something that you can survive through 100 pages, even 10 pages of reading. It's easier if the text was black and the background was white. Even on the screen, change the screen to whatever you feel, but it should be easy on the eye. Remember, too much bright colors affect the eyes, and since you're working on a computer, you're going to spend a lot of time on a computer. Try and make it as easy to your eyes as possible. Otherwise, you end up in the situation we had in the morning. Everybody in the class had glasses and I didn't have. So I had 4 more. I think I'm just go and buy some glasses there. And then I look like everybody else. Someone can make me nice glasses. So over time, your eyes gets affected by the blue light of a computer. If possible, if you're wearing glasses or you're going to make a pair of glasses, just get the blue light screening on your glasses. And if you don't wear glasses, be like me. Go and buy a pair that will protect you from the screens. And a discussion of this class, just make sure that you make your screen user-friendly so that ultimately it doesn't affect your eyes. And that's the health and safety issue we want to bring in this discussion. Settings in Windows 7 versus settings in Windows 10. Okay, so what am I really doing here? One is to show you that you can get settings. But two, I want to show you the difference between those settings. To say, if you're on Windows 10, this is how those settings will actually look like. But if you're on Windows 7, this is how the settings will look like. But while I'm showing you the difference, the third thing I want to show you is the similarities. Those things will also look the same. So let's look at Windows 10 then. Windows 10, it's a window on the left. You can see the minimize button. It looks like a minus sign, top left. Let's put the maximize button and the close button that looks like a small X. So you have to look very close there at the end, otherwise you won't see them. But on the left where there's Windows, there is where the written settings. It tells you that you're on the settings screen, and it also written Windows settings. And because Windows is forgiving, it gives you an option to say find a setting. So if you don't know what you're looking for, you can simply click in here and type printer and press enter. It will find you the printer settings. unless you know how to navigate a Windows computer on professional settings, use the bar that is made available for you to click in there, type printer, gives you printer settings. Otherwise, go to a setting that allows you to access the printers. It's actually devices. So if you click on devices, you'll be able to find printers, scanners, and all the other devices which you can set the settings for. While I told you where to find them, let's go to the right on Windows 7. On Windows 7, it's almost the same thing. It's got a search bar at the top next to a green button, top right corner, and it has got a beautiful blue search button. If you typed in there and say printer, it will do the same. It will find you printer settings. But you can see differently here, the icons or the pictures used are more real life pictures, but Windows 10 uses more of drawings, drawn out icons, but the icons on these ones are more picture graphic icons. But you're able to see the same thing. You can see accounts on Windows 7 is called user accounts. Applications, you can find it there. This side is written programs. So you're able to navigate along the line and find features in Windows 7, which you can find in Windows 10. The difference is how these things are laid out. Generally, the same features you're looking for are easily found in any of these. For example, if you want to find your printers in Windows 7, you'll go to hardware and sound, but you'll actually see something like a printer there that looks like hardware. If you click on it, it will open printers. But on the other one, you'll have to go to devices. So the contrast is the icons used, but the similarities is that you are able to find exactly what you're looking for by typing that thing under search, or if you're brave enough, by going to find its actual location. Like if you're looking for applications in Windows 7, you go to programs and you can click on programs. You'll be able to find those programs and easily access the programs, install them, and do whatever. If I were you, I'll simply go to the search bar, click on it, and access it. Now, question is, do you still have got the search bar at the bottom of the taskbar? Yes. But the search bar inside this settings window gives you quicker access to settings. It will not search generally. It will not take you to the internet. It will not search documents. If you type printers, it will take you to the printer settings on your computer and open printers. So that's specifically why you need to be accessing it through that window. Earlier, I've talked about the story of real estate and how real estate is affected on your computer. The bigger the text on your computer, the lesser the real estate. So you can zoom things to be bigger, but you will have lesser space to work with. So if you had a sentence that's written, Tom is going to school on his fancy bicycle, there'll be one line if the text was smaller. But the moment you enlarge the thing, it gets bigger. You would probably have now to use the scroll bars to move side by side to locate the text, or the text would have moved to the second line if the program allows for the text to move to the second line. What has happened? The space on your screen is not enough to contain what you ask the computer to show. So to avoid that situation, you simply go back and change the settings to the space where it's more comfortable. Windows usually come up with 100% settings. Leave the settings as they are. If you don't know how to change them, call a guide IT to assist you. But if you want to tinker around, you move the slider. It will help you to change the settings, make it bigger, make it smaller. Once you are happy, press apply. Once you press apply, then the settings will change. But if you tinker with the settings and you don't know, call the lady at IT. The lady at IT will come and assist you. And be honest and say, I pressed the settings and I wanted to be hero and I couldn't do it right. It will help you quickly. Settings for devices. There are different settings for devices. One of the most favorite ones for me is how to make a particular device a default. So if you open printers, devices, you want to right click on a printer which you use every day to avoid you going to file, print, choose a printer. It's too much work. You can simply press the print button and the printer prints. But how? How do you make a printer to print? Which printer to print actually? You have to set that printer as a default printer. So you have to go to printers, find the printer, right click on it and click on default. That printer will be a default printer. But where do you get these settings, by the way? You get them under settings, as you can see. But how about finding the settings for the printer? You can simply go under find the settings and type printer. It will list all the printers and their settings. Then you can simply access the printer easily and change the settings for the printer. The same, if you want to change the settings for the display, you go to settings, type display, you'll be able to change the settings for the display. What I was talking about, that you can change the settings for the printer, that's exactly what happens there. So you can find one of these printers, right click on it and make it default. You can see there are 5 printers there. So you can find one of these printers, right click default. Next time you print, you click on print on Microsoft Word or PowerPoint, it will print that, send to that particular printer as a default printer. If you want to select a different printer, next time you print, you have to go to File, Print, and then choose a different printer from the default printer. But where the default printers are set, it's here. If you work in a computer where you guys use your Konica Minoltas and all those fax print, big photocopies to print, please do not change the settings here. Go there and look at it and press escape. Do not make changes because it's a little bit complicated to configure these things. Unless if you don't mind buying a Coca-Cola 400, oh, they're no longer 500 milliliters, 440 milliliter Coke and give to a person at IT. Go ahead, destroy the settings, carry the cold Coke to IT and ask them to come and fix. Good luck. But please do not tamper with the settings unless you are sure of what you're doing. Please don't try this at home. The hazards are real. Personalized settings. Again, if you look at these settings, I've said, if I want to put my photos to the Bahamas, on a personal computer, I can do it. But this is an office computer. Try to keep an office computer as clean as possible and leave the settings on. You can see the blue background theme is being selected. It says choose your picture. We choose the blue background picture. So the theme becomes standard. The moment you change the theme, perhaps try to assign different users so that user A would have to use the settings, user B will use the settings, user C would use the settings. Then you've got your own password where you can be able to be your own user and change your own themes and only assign those themes to you. As you can see now, the background colors and all the themes, you can change them for your own personal preference. Commonly asked issue when using a computer is how do I find my files? Your files are always found in File Explorer. If you are using, or if your manager or you are using a MacBook computer, you received one as a gift over the holidays, they are found under Finder. But like I've said, the quickest way to do it on a MacBook is Command space, and you can type a file you're looking for. It will go under Finder and it will find it for you. If you're using a Windows computer, quick, you can simply go to the search bar at the bottom of the taskbar. Click on this click on search, type in the file you're looking for, press search, it will be able to locate the file for you. So these are ways in which you can be able to locate a file on a Windows computer. Same way as you can locate it on a Mac computer. The take-home trick is always use the search features on a Windows computer. They are easy to use. you're not an IT student, therefore you're not interested in learning the interrelated issues around how to use operating systems. In another life, I've learned how to do that when I was doing A+, but you don't have time for that life. You right now want to do paralegal, make sure that you use a search feature, and the search feature will take you there. As they say in Soweto, izokuthatha ikubeke, to find the location of a thing that you're looking for, and you easily find it. You see? Next to start, before we even talk log out and we go home, if you type here to search, like I was just talking now, your computer will tell you how to find things and search for them. If you forget how to do anything, you press F1 on a Windows computer, it'll get you help. Type in and say, I want to print. Then your computer will show you the tips on how to print, and it will show you the guidelines. So these operating systems, they're built with tips in them to assist you how to access and to find a thing. Well, now that you are done for the day, you are left with 5 minutes, you want to switch off this computer and go home. Rule of thumb, before you switch off anything in the law firm, go to Microsoft Word, which is the most commonly used application. Save. If you're using any other program that allows for a save feature, please save. If you're using Microsoft Word, find that your Microsoft Word must have an auto-save feature. Always use an auto-save feature. It will save you a lot of pain and headaches. So before you shut down a computer, it will ask you if there are applications that are open. Do you want to save? Click yes. Don't be in the habit of clicking no. Even if that file is not important, click yes. Save it as notes version 25. Tomorrow morning, open notes version 25. If you don't like what is in there, just delete it. But if you don't save things and you're in a habit of clicking no, then you switch, you close the computer and you go. Next time, you're going to say no to an important document, and it will be a mission to locate that document. You would have to go again and buy another Coca-Cola at IT and get that thing done, because it requires a skill to find an unsaved document in Microsoft Office. You can find it, but it's not an easy way to do it. What you also need to do is learn to save things in versions. We'll do this when we discuss Microsoft Word in more detail. But for today, remember, when you are typing affidavit 1, affidavit Mr. Mahlangu, say Mr. Mahlangu version 1, save it as version 1. Send it to Mr. Mahlangu to make some changes. And make some changes. Before you amend it, call it Mr. Mahlangu version 2. Tomorrow, when there's a dispute, you can have version 1 and version 2, and the two of you can look at say, but Mr. Mahlangu, this is what you changed on paragraph 4, and this is what you said I must do. Then it all makes sense. But if you deleted it and you typed over and you saved it on Mahlangu affidavit, and he says, what did I say we changed? You also don't know. Say, but I've saved, I've changed it. You would have lost valuable information, especially if it's big documents, affidavits, heads of arguments, legal opinions. They will always have 2 or 3 versions. Be in a habit of saving them as versions that when amended, you'll be able to use those versions. Earlier, I've talked about what then happens if you want to set your personal settings that may have an impact on how others use that computer. To change those personal settings, you need to click on shutdown. If you shut down the computer, and you can also have the same place where you click shut down, you can also have an option that says switch users. You only have the option for switch users if you've got more than one user. If you don't have more than one user, you're not likely to find that option. But if you've got more than one user, you can have switch users, but it will move from one user to another. If you want to add another user, you go to search and type add user. It will take you to settings where you need to add a user, add another user. You need to give them privileges, whether they are an administrator or they're just an ordinary user. Remember, if you made them an administrator, they are able to access your own files, which you saved on the other side. If they're just an ordinary user, they may not be able to change settings on your file and even settings on the computer itself. Adding shortcuts is the same way I've said to you on tile. You can right click on a tile. You can right click on a tile. Once you right click on a tile, you can assign a task. Remember something we discussed here. It's the same way if you want Microsoft Word or you want David's template, you can go to my documents or to documents, open the folder documents. You see the David, it's there. You don't double click it. Right click on it, it will give you shortcuts. Click select desktop shortcut. It will create a desktop shortcut for you, and then you take that desktop shortcut, you use it every time instead of coming to documents and you open all the way and all the way. It's a quicker way. So the point is we are trying to help you to work quicker on your computer. Now that you've got 2 minutes, let's move you right along. If things are hard to see on your computer, you use settings and you're able to see the display layouts. We have discussed the display layouts already when I was talking to you about the real estate. Please note that when you use a program like Microsoft Word, it has got its own display features. What you change on Windows and make your text bigger, it may affect only the features of Windows itself. Like on file, the word file could be bigger, the word edit will be bigger, display will be bigger, but not the text itself. The text you type to make it bigger or smaller, those settings must be changed inside Microsoft Word itself. It's got a view feature where you can also change those settings. Do not confuse the two. For 2 minutes on the chat box, if you want something for us to discuss, I'm going back to the chat box in case I missed something you asked, and I can quickly address it. And if you've got any other question, you can also ask me on the chat box and see if we can have that discussion there. Is there anything that you want us to discuss? If not, thumbs up, then the class will be done and then we all happy and go home. Okay, we're good to go. And the WhatsApp group you wanted to ask is posted. If you scroll up 1704 on the chat, that's where you find the link to the WhatsApp group. Let me see if let me post it again. There you go. I've posted it one more time. The copy of this, yes, I think I'll send a copy to Marilyn, then she'll email it to you. But hey, since you're on the WhatsApp group, I'll also ask Tanduit to just put it on the WhatsApp group. By tomorrow, I'll give you a copy. And if you don't see it on the WhatsApp group, by then, Marilyn will also send you some to you on email. The full-time WhatsApp group. Let me see if I have it. Okay, That should be the full-time student WhatsApp group. So there's paralegal full-time students, so you can use that link. Ladies and gentlemen, we are done. Thank you very much for coming. Let's have our discussion again on Thursday. Yes, Thursday. And on Thursday, we are going to go using the April links. Please do not use the March links. Thank you very much.